Hello, folks, and welcome back to Joelee's. I am Joelee, that bitch Dolly warned you about. And today we are going to be watching ShoeOnHead, the Male Protector Fantasy. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and get right into it here with me on Joelee's. Let's get into it in 3, 2, 1.
Your eggs are drying up.
Oh.
If you're a woman online,
What a hell of a start to the video. I know I'm pausing it so early into the video, but folks, this is what we do here. This is partially my fear right now too, because I'm a man, and while my eggs aren't drying up, my youthful vitality that goes into being a rad dad. See, I'm going to be a lame dad by the time I have kids, if I have kids, because I am getting to be age 40. I'm about to be an unk. That's what was the worst thing you could be as a man? An unk? Well, I don't know if it's the worst. It could be a good thing, but it could also be a very bad, dark thing. A man without kids. And I'm like the most likely in my line. I'm the eldest son. I'm like, one of my brothers is gay. He's not having kids, I don't think. And my other brother, not even sure what he is. Like, even I'm not lived up enough to know all the intricacies of what's going on there. I think even calling them a him in this hate crime. But they are definitely like anti-natalist, pilled like to the extreme, which is, hopefully we can get into that here with other videos. But suffice to say, my eggs aren't drying up, my huevos are getting saggy.
I've probably heard that many times. Perhaps this image haunts you at night.
Yes.
It is a true fact that
not me.
women's fertility begins to decline at age 30, and they suddenly wake up and get what we call baby fever. But what about the men? Do their sperms rot? Do their balls shrivel up into little raisins and die? Do they wait?
No, but I do think that there is a difference between young sperm and like young man sperm and old man sperm, and it's the vitality of the child, like how athletic. Like my dad was basically my age when I was conceived, but around 40, and I am I've just never been the athletic type. I've not been a testosterone. I'm what you would call a beta. I've done a lot to disguise it. I've done a lot to obfuscate it. But at the end of the day, I am beta, and I can live with that. But part of that is because my dad was older, and I think that's a two-factor thing. It's both his genetic material maybe wasn't in its prime when I got into that egg, and secondly, I think he was just tired and wanted to watch TV and not teach me how to throw a ball or swing a golf club or do any of those, traditional masculine dad things. And sorry, no offense, Dad, but it definitely left a mark on me. And if you're disappointed in me, well, you reap what you sow, bitch.
Wake up one day and get baby fever? Do men have a biological clock in the same way women do? I've briefly joked about this in videos before. In fact, a clip of mine from a video I did a few months ago actually went viral recently thanks to the VTuber Smuggalana. Ah, yes, the male.
Hey, crossovers. Maybe she's getting so close to the VTuber episode. Smuggalana is one of my go-to VTubers. I love me some Smuggalana. There's a new one I just found too. I don't want to go too far off. But she has just the most infectious laugh, and she's from my area, the Texas, Louisiana area. She talks about growing up in both. I will find the name. Maybe we can take a sidetrack at the end of this. But she is wonderful. Her reactions are so genuine, and she does like more long-form video essays. If you watch Emperor Lemon, I should react to one of his videos here soon. Except for I've watched them all, so it wouldn't be a pure reaction. But if you watch Emperor Lemon, she did one. She watched the Dale Earnhardt "No, There Will Never Be Another Dale Earnhardt" video, and that was her reaction to that. It's why I do reactions. It's why I love reactions. It's like it reinfuses the original video that you love with that sense of a first time, like you're getting to watch the rerun because you're experiencing it anew through somebody. Sorry, if you can't tell, kind of hopped up, ready for this. All right, so Smuggalana got Shue some more attention, it seems. Actually, which way does that go? I mean, I guess Smuggalana is probably exposing Shue to a newer audience.
biological clock. It's not physical, but spiritual.
Yes.
Men will deny this, but they absolutely have a biological clock. It may not hit in your teens or your 20s, but one day you're going to have a dream. You have a little daughter making you pancakes with your wife in the morning, and you're not going to be able to get it out of your head.
Oh my God.
And the comments were full of men discussing their dreams to start a family. There is not much discussion about men's desire to have children. Like many things, it's not really something they talk about publicly. That was until a certain video game came out.
What are you?
I am DI-03367, a state-of-the-art pragmatic created here at the Cradle. I possess basic life-saving...
How about we call you Diana?
Diana?
Pragmata is a sci-fi
What a guy.
action game where you play as astronaut Hugh Williams, who is sent to investigate an abandoned moon base. He meets a childlike android named Diana, and they team up to survive and escape the space station. Along the way, they uncover what went wrong and defeat the bad guys, all while forming a strong emotional bond.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, I mean, if I could have a child who could help me in battle, that would definitely infuse me to get to, you know, it would just give me a little bit more motivation if they could be doing the hacking while I'm doing the slashing, if you will. Aww.
I'm counting on you, kiddo.
But it seems to have awakened something deep within gamers, especially male gamers. The urge to get married and have kids.
Yes.
I'm not planning on getting married and having kids, but damn, this game is like fatherhood calling to me. Is this how women feel about their biological clocks?
100%. And like, look, we can get more into it. I'm going to probably be leaning more into some of my harder line beliefs, but I do, you know, now, like, kind of like looking back with the blinders opened up, I feel like the anti-natalist propaganda machine has been working so well in the same way that, Goebbels, like they got a high class Goebbels type up there in the anti-natalist movement, because it is so pervasive and invisible sometimes. And then it became something to where even when it becomes visible, it almost seems like it's you know, on the right side of history, or at least it poses itself as such. And I think these men are waking up to their natural biology, because I do believe this firmly. On a long enough time scale, propaganda cannot beat biology. Biology will always win, but propaganda can definitely steer us off course. Biology will steer us back on course. And I mean, fortunately, the waves or the people behind propaganda are constantly shifting their desired outcome. So propaganda is not consistent, but what is consistent is biology.
This game makes me want a daughter. What is this feeling inside me? It can't be. It's like, I want to protect.
Oh.
It's like, I want to be a dad. They won me
Yes.
over. The white baby makes me feel paternal. I will burn anyone and anything that tries to harm her. This game is dragging out the innate dad instinct.
This reminds me, I remember when I really should have probably started just trying to lock down a normal life at this point, but I do remember in my late 20s getting this sensation, like, if I got into a car crash today, I would get out of the car, like, say I didn't cause it. That was, I think, the assumption. You know, this is the male fantasy happening, taking over. Your brain just starts going into scenarios. And I realized if somebody crashed into me today, you know, I might be a little frustrated. Might have a little bit of a heart jump or whatever. But I would probably let it roll off my back pretty easily. And I know this actually as a Domino's delivery driver. I got into a couple of close calls, and it, you know, yeah, you're a little frustrated, you're a little perplexed, you know, overwhelmed, but you're not, I never was like at wanting to go rabbit on the person, but I realized that if I had a son or a daughter waiting for me at home who I need to take care of, and somebody crashed into my car and put my life in jeopardy, I realized at that age, it's like that would send me into a rage. That would make it to where I could not be contained, or at the very least, you know, it would be a situation, because I would be so upset, not that my life for myself was being put in danger, but my life was put in jeopardy when somebody so important to me relies upon me. That was probably my male biological clock going off, and unfortunately, I suppressed it with alcohol, probably, and many late nights of Super Smash Brothers Melee. No regrets. No regrets.
I want to like Pragmata, but I can't, knowing that men are also enjoying it. This is a game for incels. Babe, wake up! It's time for your yearly gamer culture war slap! It's 2014 forever, man. We are never going to escape
100%.
Mr. Gamergate's wild ride. In this video, we are going to discuss the facts and theories.
If you've ever seen the meme, if I have time, I'll put it up right here. If you ever see the meme of small domino being about to be knocked over and it progressing to bigger and bigger dominoes, there is truth to the Gamergate, like 4chan complaints about truth in journalism, or however you want to say it, honesty in journalism, leading up to like the closing of the Strait of Hamas or whatever it is, homos, and like there's a truth. It's almost like everything post 2016 was like almost kicked off, like the spark, the spark that lit the fuse was Gamergate, it seems, and it's never going to end, because whether it be that it's just the one thing that really infused us and united certain key people together and gave them their first soapbox, or if it's that it was like kind of the unlocking of the culture war for the the people higher up who wanted to use the culture war, and realizing that they know the buttons to hit. There's something about it. It's like, I'm sure, I used to think that 9/11 would be that changed everything in my life. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, 9/11 sent things spiraling, but we are forever living in the wake of the culture war. I would say somewhere between Occupy Wall Street and Gamergate, that whatever shifted there is what we now exist in. That's not even 9/11. 9/11 might have started that, but it doesn't even feel like that's really the thing anymore, the reason for the season, if you will, which, considering, not to be a bummer, but considering how many people died and how much of a spectacle and how much it changed like the face of New York, or the skyline for sure, it's kind of sad that it's no longer feels like it's the thing that we're living in the wake of. I don't know. I wonder if this is how people in the 60s felt about World War II and like the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Like, you're like, when you're in the 60s, you're just like, well, yeah, but that's not the reason people killed MLK and MLK Jr. and RFK and JFK. Jeez. Wow. I never thought I'd be living through the 60s again. You'd think the music would be better.
Behind the so-called male biological clock, after we discuss the drama surrounding the game Pragmata, and how a bunch of men expressing a simple, wholesome desire, the desire to start a family, has turned into yet another culture war. Yet another gender war. The gender war. Men versus women, women versus men, the male loneliness epidemic, the female loneliness epidemic, dealing with dating apps, hookup culture. Do men like curvy or thin women? Do women like dad bods or fit men? Do they like beards or clean shaven? Oh yeah.
Oh,
that reminds
there we go.
me. Before we get deeper into this video, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, Henson Shaving. For the last few decades, razors haven't been designed to work better. They've been designed to be marketed better.
This is actually a more interesting ad. Oh, it's buffering anyways. I was just going to say that I feel like the gender war has gotten so toxic that I think there's becoming an epidemic of what I would go out and say is type 2 gays. And I'm on the verge of becoming a type 2 gay. In the same way that some people are born with diabetes and they're born gay, I think there's a lot of guys out there who are trying to find any way to have sex with as close to a woman, as close to a feminine as possible, but without them actually being a woman, a whammon. I mean, and like I said, this is a topic for a whole other video, maybe an independent video. I'm checking my Wi-Fi now. Okay. Might have to cut this down, but essentially, yes. I think we're seeing maybe, and granted, it could just be my feed because I'm a pervert on X. Hey, follow me on X, Joelee or the Joel Watts, and see me simp after femboys and trans girls. I am just, it's nonstop there. But I think that, well, I was always trans interested. I should just do a video on being a gynosexual. I think that's what it's called. Horrible name, I think. I think they really chose a poor name. And you know who chose it? The trans. No sense of aesthetic. I feel like those folks, even though that they claim to be only almost practically defined by aesthetic, but like, you know, who would choose for the term of femininity to be attracted to a femme? Who would choose gyno as the word? I mean, I know it's like scientific or a Greek in origin, whatever. It's just not pleasant.
Irritation is blade flex, because most razors use springs to let the blades move.
Okay, so June, I swear, I'm not skipping the ad. I just had major buffering during the ad. Please, you know, please don't punish me. Call me mommy.
Even move? And here's where Henson Shaving comes in. By fully supporting a two-sided blade all across its length, they hold the blade in place, preventing any bouncing or skipping, resulting in an irritation-free shave. No springs, no movement, no need to compensate with pressure. And there's something really satisfying about that. Not just getting a better shave, but finally fixing something that's been quietly annoying you for years. Like when you spend months wondering why you don't feel rested even after you get 8 hours sleep, and then you realize, oh, I need a new mattress. You don't need more aftershave. You need a new razor. And since I switched to Henson, I noticed that my shaves have been smoother than ever. No tugging, no cuts. The best part is, once you invest in a Henson razor, it is a lifetime purchase. The only thing you need to replace are the blades, which cost just 10 cents each. So once you own the razor, you'll only be spending like $3 to $5 per year. Henson offers a variety of different colors. I have the rose gold. I think it's so cute. So if you're tired of razor burn, skin irritation, and overpaying for replacement blades, Henson Shaving is definitely worth checking out. Just head over to hensonshaving.com/shoe and add both a Henson razor and 100 blades to your cart. Then enter code SHOE at checkout to get the blades for free with your purchase. Big thanks to Henson for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? Now, let's get back to the video.
Right, June.
Throughout history, there have been countless stories centered around a very specific dynamic. The adult protector and a child. You see it everywhere. In video games, they call it a dad simulator. The Walking Dead,
What kind of dad are you simulating here, buddy? That's, I think a dad simulator would be more like, you know, taking your kid to softball and then getting into a fight with another dad because you had a few too many beers, if you know what I mean. But, you know, this is more like a dad idolizer or something to that effect. But I do have to point out some, I mean, I'm sure she's going to get to it, but think in literature, we have The Road. One of my favorite, probably by vote, the best Simpsons pairing of characters is Homer and Lisa. And now that's not about necessarily protection, though he's probably done it before, but that's more about like, you know, this wonderful inversion of like, you know, the father being this like, you know, oafish idiot who sees the world with childish eyes, and his daughter being the cynic, but who needs her, she almost needs Homer in order to remind herself that she can be a kid as well. So, I mean, it's, and like, you know, we can probably keep going back further and further in time. Hey, True Grit, in a way, you know, I mean, Rooster does everything in his power not to be a child or to be a father figure to Hallie Stanfield's character. I don't remember her name, but you know, it's definitely there. And by the end, he's kind of fulfilled the bargain of being, you know, the dad in that situation. So just saying, it's not, this isn't like nothing new under the sun here. It's like father-daughter there's a reason that there was like father-daughter dances. You don't hear about mom-son dances. It's like the closest thing you might hear about that is like at weddings. I don't know. I don't know if I'm dancing with my mom at my wedding. Maybe I know my brother didn't. Maybe I should, throw her a bone. Well, got to get married first, so we'll cross that bridge later. Got to get a girlfriend first. Huh. Oh, I'm sad now.
Last of Us, God of War, Detroit Become Human, BioShock, Life is Strange.
Yes.
Also movies like Logan, True Grit, In a Way, Monsters Inc. Shows like The Mandalorian. Literature has done it forever with the...
Is Grogu a girl? Kind of see, he's boy-coded to me. Boy-coded. But I mean, she's probably up there. I guess there's The Road. But she's probably just talking about it in general. Because, yeah, The Road is not a father-daughter.
Road, Les Miserables, and many, many others. It shows up time and time again because it taps into something deeply human. The instinct to protect, to guide, to teach, to nurture something more vulnerable than yourself. It is a beautiful and powerful story that has been told for centuries. And you're like really weird and an incel for enjoying it, actually.
Incel game.
If you buy this game, I'm gonna assume you are a pedophile.
I feel like it's a breach of ethics at this point to design child characters for an audience of majority male gamers. Like, let's stop
using ethic, because I mean, I'm not trying to get conspiracy brain here. Not trying to, but it is just right there. It's like this thing is effective for doing something I don't like. It's making me feel strange because now men might want to have kids and I'm subconsciously wanting to end the human race. So we need to make this illegal. This is effective. It activates biology. Must be illegal. I'm just going to say this. I think there's a movement that needs to happen, and maybe we could push for it, but we need to stop watching anything that's made by Hollywood. People who, went to school to become writers, I think that should almost disqualify them, and especially if they've been in an industry that has, that they've worked through and they've conformed to in order to attain their position as a writer on like a TV show, especially a TV show. Movies, you're more likely to get like somebody who usurped the system in a movie, especially a writer director type, but definitely on a TV show, a lot of those folks don't come out unscathed. You don't get too many Vince Gilligans or Matthew Weiners. So I was just thinking that we should really prioritize media that doesn't come from the system, doesn't come from Disney, doesn't come from Hollywood, particularly, or at least not those mainstream big tent poles. Like if it's on Netflix, it probably isn't worth watching. I bet you could apply that probably to Paramount as well. HBO is probably on the cusp at this point. If it was on HBO, if it was made before like 2020, maybe it was, okay on HBO. But suffice to say, I think independent media, independent creators, buy the comic books, buy the books, go and get the independent films, watch the independently made web series or the films posted on YouTube, films by people who know that this art, unfortunately, should probably be a hobby and not a profession, and are doing their damnedest to carve out a space for them, but aren't trying to make a life of luxury. They're trying to achieve comfort but not luxury through their talents, and I think that we need to be looking to those folks to be our deliverers of our moral compass and stories. But that's yet again a rant for another day, or possibly a project for another day, and I should be putting my money where my mouth is and going and finding these independent artists to feature possibly or talk about their works.
The defenseless girl the big strong man has to protect. This reeks of sexism and control.
Oh my God.
I hate these father simulator games. They always give me the creeps. This is low
that's a you problem.
fascist propaganda and gives me pedo vibes.
This is fascist. Oh God. Okay, I don't want to cut or choke. This is fascist propaganda. What the fuck are you talking about? Like fascist propaganda is the one that's telling you not to have children, that's telling you to ignore your biological instincts or not to even indulge them or acknowledge that they're anything but some version of gross. You are propaganda, antinatalist propaganda, you fucking stink bug.
Wouldn't it be cool if I sneezed right now? Fascist propaganda. If this is fascist propaganda, slap me and call me Adolf. Zoomer women really look at a wholesome game involving a child and What the f is low genuinely? After hearing about toxic
Okay.
masculinity
Please, June, let's find
for the
out.
past like 15 years now, finally a topic comes up where it's overwhelmingly positive masculinity, and what is the response?
I think the funniest thing about the pragmata controversy is that those incels genuinely think they could ever get near enough to a woman to impregnate one. It's not nuanced. Pragmata is blatant pedophilia catered to male gooner gamers. Why are people thinking this is sexual or makes you a pedophile? Because men are notorious for being peds and disgusting humans. They sexualize everything. You are not very smart.
Says the gender who is sexualizing animals in their erotica, and I don't know. I can't help but think that this cuts both ways. You know, those the thing about fingers. They got those three pointing back at you. Anyways, let's get back into it.
A lot of loser males who often turn to gaming are pedos. It is an unconscious strategy to avoid competing with chat, as well as complementing their own pure attorneyness. Stall development. What? Y'all are full of
Please.
shit talking about dad instincts and whatever. We know why the f you want to play the game. You want to crack the little blonde bimbo slut.
Whoa! 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 Whoa, whoa, and there's a trans flag next to him, and I like trans people for the most part, except for some of them are fucking insane. Damn it! Oh, what the fuck? This is what we call projection. I do believe that is. Why are you calling the little girl the blonde bimbo slut in your tweets? I guess to get this reaction out of me probably, and I'm just feeding your machine of hatred or of outrage. But still, you know, it's like one thing to say, I mean, it was one thing to say, oh, the men want to have sex with the little girl. That's outrageous. But I can imagine there's corners of the internet where it is going on. I mean, that's just how these things go. You have to just acknowledge that there's going to be bad stuff out there like that, you know, and I'm somebody who is in general okay with Rule 34 as long as the characters are of age. I could get into that in another video. I should just rant to the camera and just edit it down and see what happens. But what the fuck? What the fuck? You are calling the little girl a blonde bimbo slut. That's on you at that point. That's like you've taken it to the next level because there's nothing, you know, that's you had those thoughts. I don't think the gamers that didn't have those thoughts, and the game makers didn't have those thoughts. That you've taken it, you've next leveled it. You've brought it up in a way into the stratosphere of insanity.
What? This character design creeps me out. Why does she look like a doll? Why is this blonde child with a blowout running around barefoot? I've not yet played the game. Is this expanded on in the plot? Or is this just eye candy for creeps?
I feel like I'm going insane.
Here. Just the idea of eye candy. Like, can we just talk about that concept? It's like eye candy isn't just visual, you know, pleasantry to the eyes isn't just about sexual things. Being, you know, aesthetics are very important, and they go past just craving somebody. You could, you know, there are aesthetic decisions that they made from top to bottom to communicate things, and that thing that they're trying to communicate isn't do stuff with this child. I need to learn to watch what I say because, you know, specifically the words. It's so funny. It's the words that get you caught up on YouTube, not the ideas for the most part. But they're not trying to communicate you want carnally this child. They're just trying to communicate this child is pleasant, you know, it like beauty equals good, unfortunately. And it's, you know, it takes a specific story that tries to go out of its way to say, hey, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, or look at the heart of the monster, you know, Quasimodo. But it's like that has to be the story, is basically the theme of the story. The reminder that we need every now and then that just because something is big and beautiful and it seems like to sustain doesn't mean that it's inherently good, and that good can come from anywhere. But if that's not the main point of your story, you're probably going to try to make the characters and the environments, you know, evocative, and like the good places to be beautiful and serene, and the good people to be beautiful and, you know, attractive, but not in a sexual way always. Attractive is just meaning that you are attracted to it and you want to be near it. Doesn't mean that you want that other thing. And then, like, you know, the bad guys probably are going to be ugly, like things you don't want to have in this world. The environments that are dangerous are going to be creepy. This is just visual communication. This is storytelling. You're trying to, you know, you've so overthought and deconstructed everything. It's like you took apart your fridge and you don't know how to put it back together. So now you're just sitting there talking about, you know, the purposes of the door of the fridge when it's just lying on the ground and not preserving what is inside, not keeping the cool stuff in. And what is the motor for? What's this fucking motor for? I took it out of this refrigerator and can't go back in, and it's not doing any job. So why is it just sitting on my floor?
Looks like a cute kid to me. Like, that is just
Yeah.
literally a cute little kid. I do not see the sexualization, and I am a huge pervert, mind you. I do not see what the f these people are talking about.
You and me
Are
both,
there
June.
creepy people on the internet who are
Well, you know, great, you know, I would say like matches with like or whatever, you know, freak matches freak or whatever. Of course, June is going to be a pervert. Because I am.
sexualizing Diana? Yes, absolutely yes. It is a small minority, but it is still disgusting. In fact, a subreddit had to be shut down because people were making not safe for work art of this child, which honestly is not shocking. It's Reddit. That's not the game.
Good point. And I just want to say, if you're making not safe for work, Rule 34 of a little girl, specifically this little girl, like there's loopholes that I will turn a blind eye to, or at the very least, you know, only give you a side eye for, that I've heard in the past. I don't approve, I don't condone, but you know what? If that's the soups you jump through for your way of being, then I'll let it go. But there's no hoops to jump through on this one, mate. That she's a robot of some sort? No, I'm sorry. I'm not a commie, but I do believe in the gulags, and that's straight to the gulag for you. We gotta have a place to send these people to. It just seems inevitable at this point. And there's a lot of different kinds of people. Asmongold definitely has, you know, his opinions on who gets to go, and so is Smugglana. I mean, I think Shue and I would probably agree. The pedos. I don't even know if should we even bother with sending a place besides the gallows. Oh no, I hear they're bringing back the firing squad. America is really great again, isn't it, folks?
Game's fault. The game has nothing creepy in it. These creepy people will always exist, unfortunately. I have made several videos about these people existing.
Yes.
People getting mad here are not getting mad at the people sexualizing Diana. That would be completely understandable. It would make sense if they were going to the accounts that were doing that and calling them creeps, but no. They're for some reason just getting mad at people liking and enjoying the game. They're just spurging out and randomly calling everyone and anyone incels.
Why did they make her look like a porn star, though?
Why
Wait,
is
what?
the child sexy? Are you okay? These Twitter freaks see a child, immediately sexualize them, and think everyone else is as creepy as they are. Like, no, bitch, that's you. And
Yes.
Reddit. You and Reddit. There is nothing in this video game that caters to the freaks except for the fact that Diana is a child. Compare that to, like, Cuties, where there were up-closes of real children twerking. That is media. That is catering to those people. An article recently came out from the outlet The Gamer that in the beginning talks about what happened on the Reddit and how disgusting some people are being towards the character Diana. Okay, fair enough, I agree. But then towards the end, the author throws in something very telling.
I have not yet played Pragmata, and that's because I'm a little tapped out on stories where men adopt daughter-like figures and prove their masculinity by protecting them.
I think that the fact that the dude was an astronaut and in that power armor suit that he seems to be wearing, I don't think he needed to prove his masculinity. by protecting Diana. I think he just made use of his masculinity. And I think that's kind of true for all these guys. If anything, what usually happens, the Joel character, if you will, my name, I don't know. The Joel character is usually, it's not that they have to prove themselves through their masculinity. They almost have, it's usually that they have to open up their heart. And the child character helps them open their heart. They were already capable of, doing great things. Now maybe they did, worse things, and because their heart was so open. I mean, like, geez, sorry, got some fly flying around here. Essentially, it's not about proving your masculinity. It's about proving your humanity. I think that's the key difference. I'm sure there is a story that is about, like, where some beta cuck, some beta gets some beta cuck like me gets a child dropped into her laps, and then it becomes not about proving your masculinity. It's probably either about then proving at that point it becomes about proving your maturity or proving your masculinity, or a little combination of both. I guess the one I'm thinking of right now is Big Daddy. So that might be it. But yeah, for the most part, the guys are already plenty masculine. Nobody questions that. It's the human part is usually what gets them. And look at Hal. I don't know much about this game. I will admit I haven't played it. He is so entombed in his armor. Even like the closest you get is slivers of his face. Now maybe part of that is to have that I'm connected to this guy because he could be anybody kind of thing. The superhero thing. Cover the face. Let you project your thoughts onto it or yourself onto it. But it could also be a visual metaphor for him being cocooned emotionally. And I'm just going to say that if the game were to end with Hal finally taking off the armor and just being normal him with Diana, I wouldn't be surprised. Let me know in the comments if that's what happened.
That is their real problem. Men protecting people. That's just them proving their masculinity. And as we all know, masculinity bad.
Blatantly
yes. Oh boy, did I get that message. I went out of my way to be not masculine and probably fucked up my hormones and physiology for it. Man, if I could go back in time.
Whether you agree with it or not, the average attraction trope on a little girl, blonde, blue eyes. I mean, the whole game is low-key Nazi propaganda, to be fair. I think the men who play this are probably creepy, but
good.
How is it Nazi propaganda? Blonde, blue-eyed toddler and tiaras looking white girl you have to save is literally Nazi propaganda straight out of the 1930s, dude. Sorry, I don't see it. Ugh, I really don't have the energy to deal with this. Just use your brain.
I am not the dumb one. You are the dumb one. That, if anybody tells you like that, just means they've lost the argument. Let's clear that. There was a big thing going around right before COVID, maybe a year or two before COVID, the phrase, it's not my place to educate you, or it's not, basically, I don't have the time to educate you. That's your job. That just means I don't actually have the ability to back up my beliefs. I just want to believe them. I want these things to be true. And now that you're poking holes in it, I realize I have nothing to stand on. And thus, all I can say is no, you. So anytime something like that comes up online, just stop right there. If they say that, and if you're reading that, just know that that person lost. That's it. From here on out, that person, if they're not going to go in and get into the battle, that just means they're looking for easy pickings, and the person challenged them and they lost. There should be almost a scoreboard. That's one thing that Reddit kind of had going on for itself, is like there's a scoreboard of the internet, of dunking on the internet, or being ratioed to the scoreboard. I think if you get to a certain follower count on X, any other social platform, but X is probably let's face it, X is really where it's happening. You get to a certain like status, your account should like enter a phase where it will actually track the amount of times you got ratioed, and it will be like a stat in the corner. So yeah, just thoughts. I think social media could be better because it could be more of a fucking, of a video game. It could be more of a sport. We could be tracking these things. Maybe that should be a website, ratio.com. Check, look up a Twitter account and see how many times it got ratioed.
Sorry, I don't have the energy to explain my schizophrenic paranoid delusion. Good.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't have the energy to listen to it. Listen, I know we're all
100.
used to seeing gay, black, Hispanic, disabled furries in media lately, but I promise you, white people still exist.
Not if you're not watching media.
It's not Nazi propaganda.
I feel like this girl character is an objectification of the idealized child. She's pulled right from the patriarchal white supremacist imagination, the perfect pure white girl child that must be protected so she can produce the next white generation.
Hey, it's the meme, the new meme.
Anyway.
Funny how y'all have
Yes.
paternal instincts for a child with a model woman's face plastered on it. Make her look like an actual kid with missing teeth, short hair, bare face, snot, and see if those instincts kick in the same.
If anything, they'd kick in more. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, yet again, it's just one of those things where the aesthetics are leaning towards telling a story. It's not everything has to be true to life. If there's one thing that I dislike, the Christopher Nolification of media, it's like all and maybe to an extent The Wire. I don't want to blame The Wire here, but the Christopher Nolan, like, it's so true to life. This is what would be like if Batman was real. It's like, no, Batman's not supposed to be real. He's supposed to be a mythological fantasy, and there should be larger than life things, and it should be a little campy. And so in this situation, it's like, yes, her aesthetics should be like kind of sharpened, and a little bit more idealized because it's heightened reality.
This game is openly catering to pedos. The gaslighting is over.
Wait, I'm trying to follow the logic here. Let me just give myself some brain damage.
There we go. Good job. Also, I think this proves that June is no longer using the snowball as her main microphone, as she shouldn't, because she's a fucking professional. So I'm glad to know it's only a prop, basically, at this point.
So we make her look more like a child in order to not cater to pedophiles? Am I following that correctly?
Also, the face on the left is like a child
6 to 7 years old. And the one on the right is like a 3-year-old. Diana's a robot kid. She's not a robot toddler. Also, again, she looks like a kid. Am I going insane? Like, that looks just like a little kid. Do they just want her to look ugly? Is that what this is? They want her to be
100%.
ugly? Like, I need more brain damage. Hold on.
Weeb incel gamers LARPing saying, ooh, I want to be a dad now, because they're manipulative, creepy freaks and like the ooh little girl with the model face, especially the lolicons, obviously. The devs know the male gamers hate a realistic or ugly child, because that's not what they're playing for. If they made her look like a realistic, ugly child, none of them would be saying this.
Okay, I will say this again for the people in the back. I think I've said this on Twitter a few times, I think, to rebuke these things. Are they going to cast not Scarlett Johansson? Are they going to cast Black Widow at the fucking Greyhound station? Are you going to just pull up to a Denny's and hold an open audition call? Are you just going to look for the most normal person to play a character in a film, something that we as humans want our eyes, well, in this case, a game, but let's face it, games are basically movies at this point. We're talking about cutscenes a lot here. You're going to want to find the most visually pleasing thing for the eye, for the human eye, and it's going to be a more attractive kid. Let's face it, there's a reason there's casting calls for kids. There's a reason that kids, Hollywood actors often grow up to be, who are kids. The ones who persist are the ones who grow into being attractive adults. And they know they're going to be probably attractive adults because they're pretty handsome and cute, whatever more soft words. Like I said, attractive doesn't have to be a erotic term. Anyways, but yes, I mean, look, like Scarlett Johansson was a child actress, so was Ryan Gosling. That's just we just want to see attractive people on screens when we're watching these AAA things. Yeah. You know, big Hollywood films, AAA video games. We want to see attractiveness. You know, leave the uggos and the weird and the monstrosities for, you know, the indie scene, the indie sleaze. Leave it for, you know, the indie games. Look at, like, what's his face? Eduardo, the guy who did Binding of Isaac and Eugenics and my personal favorite, Super Meat Boy. He relishes in that, and it works for his stuff, and he can take that risk because it's not supposed to be polished. It's not supposed to be for everybody. It's supposed to have like a grotesqueness that appeals to a niche audience. And you know what? Turns out there's more people in that niche than you thought. Still, it's just this is just reality. I don't understand. I had somebody make the same argument about the heroin addict girlfriend Jane in Breaking Bad, and I remember them saying if she was a drug addict, she wouldn't look like that. You know, she would be ugly and blah 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 blah. I'm like, yes, but she's a main character on a fucking TV show. Please, can we get our head straight here and just realize this is how storytelling has been and always will be until the end, until there's nobody else telling each other stories. You're going to when you're sitting around the campfire, the person whose voice is listened to the most and everybody draws attention to is probably going to be the nicest voice or one of the nicest voices wielded by one of the nicer or more interesting looking people who knows how to, you know, command attention. And that's what it's going to be like back at the fire after we bombed ourselves to Kingdom Come.
Well, why are they acting like it's realistic to portray children as ugly and disgusting? Children are not ugly and disgusting. Like, they're cute and adorable. That's what they're known for. Like, yes, she's made to look cute. Yes. That's how you know this game was not made by Western video game developers. That's how you know there was no Liliths on the dev team here.
You guys would lose your shit while playing BioShock. Actually, BioShock is a really good example of this design working right. The little sisters are all gross and have gray-green skin.
No, you don't understand. Everything around me must be ugly as f***, or I will furiously start masturbating. This all sounds like 2014 discourse, because it is 2014 discourse. Please don't let there be Gamergate 2.0.
Wait. That woman playing BioShock. How'd I do, chat?
The ShoeOnHead 2.0 to emerge from the Gamergate 2.0. If she's listening now, just, this might sound very vague, but don't. That thing? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hugh, thanks for talking to me all the time.
Oh.
Ta-da!
God.
Is this
Damn it.
supposed to be when we first boarded the tram?
Uh-huh. I drew it. It's for you.
Look at that. You wrote your name, too.
Also, just to go back to her, whatever you want to say, attractiveness. You remember, they are fighting tooth and nail that battle against the uncanny valley. Like, these artists have given cortexes of their brain, quadrants of their brain, to distinguishing between the knife's edge of the uncanny valley and constantly walking up to it. The design decisions they made, the reason that she doesn't look more like a real little girl, are probably having to do with that looking hella creepy. This character is walking a blade's edge constantly. And you're going to sit there and criticize some of the greatest minds of our time for of this specialty. Do you have no shame? Do you have no shame? We're going to probably watch somebody who has no shame here in a minute. Just to let you know.
Not half bad, kiddo.
This robot girl makes me uncomfortable, and the fact that I haven't seen female gamers fawn over her is interesting. I've seen more clips of her and that man, and that is not how kids behave. Something weird is going on here.
The something weird going on here is you, ma'am.
Yes.
You are the something weird. Men like the Father Simulator game where you have to protect a small child and shoot up a bunch of robots in space. Suspicious. Also, I have seen plenty of...
Yeah, that doesn't sound appealing at all. If all it says is you were not that kind of little girl, and maybe because you didn't have a dad who was shooting up robots in space. Sorry, many such cases of not having a dad. who shot up robots in space.
Female gamers falling over this character.
Me. Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Everything's global here.
Who would win? Decades of anti-natalist propaganda?
Yes.
One little bean. There were even women cosplaying as.
We should be grateful. We should be praying to the high heavens that one little bean wins. That is what, I mean, if you believe in God or intelligent design or not, we should be grateful that whatever designed us, whatever is spinning us on this upward spiral gives us the ability to win. That's like so many fucking stories about, like, when everything else is wrong, oppressively wrong, you can still win with just one little bean putting themselves in the soil and growing and overtaking. That's like, I just like any story that would be considered like transformative or epic. It usually comes down to that one. Everything is wrong. The oppression of wrongness is suffocating the land, and somebody so small, a little hobbit, a farm boy, a nobody from nowhere comes along and just happens to be flying so far under the radar that they blow it all up and change the course of history, free everybody. That's storytelling, because it's part of our inherent biology, and it's part of this wave of humanity, this history that happens time and time again. And it's happening in a way right now, again, I honestly believe.
And when women even expressed how cute they thought Diana was, they're also met with this.
Oh my god,
Oh, yeah.
Diana is so precious and adorable. I'm gonna love this game. Thanks for telling everyone why you want to play the game, before you make up some other excuse to hide your pedophilia.
Gallows for those types too. This guy's telling on himself. I'm just letting you know. He went this far out of his way to go and bully somebody having a good time. Motherfuckers, internet privileges at least. We should have to earn we should have to earn two things. I'm saying this. I don't believe in universal suffrage. That's not to say I want to limit it based on of anybody's skin color or gender, but I do want you to have some level of, like, we're in this together. We have some level of, we can agree on some foundational things. That's not happening. And I think the same thing about internet privileges at this point. I think you should have to get an internet license, and you should have to come to age to use the internet. We need to get the internet out of kids' hands. If you're a parent and you put an iPad in your child's hands that's connected to the internet and let them use any social media, you need to, maybe not the gallows, maybe not the gulag, but definitely some re-education coming your way soon, I hope.
What? Water guns are the best. I like it just as much as crayons. I like how the sand feels on my toes. I press down and sink in. Children don't act like this. This is how someone who fetishizes fatherhood wants children to behave. To normal people, it's actually deeply off-putting.
The best part was all the actual parents, like, replying to these people like, yeah, no, that is literally how my 5-year-old acts. It's like, yeah, no,
Yes.
no, that's pretty accurate. Fetishizing you mean the human desire to procreate and start a family? Oh, you want to meet a woman and settle down and have a family? Maybe have
What
a
a fucking
house,
pedo.
2 dogs? You sick f***.
We've reached radioactive levels of incel propaganda.
What the f*** does incel mean anymore? I feel like I ask this in every single video. This tweet got
Yeah, you
thousands
have.
of likes. I feel like I am going insane. Where does the incel part come from? Like, they want men to be open about their emotions, and then men are open about their emotions, and then they're just called Nazis or incels or both. Usually both. It's usually a package deal. And this tweet came from a man.
Oh, you can't be a Nazi without being an incel. You can't be an incel without being a Nazi. They go together like peanut butter and chocolate these days. Ooh, goodness. My goodness gracious. You know, granted, I did just watch a video earlier today about how Hitler was different than other dictators, and in a way, kind of an incel. At least, okay, yeah, he had Ada Braun, but he wasn't breeding. So it's like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, isn't celibacy just the lack of procreating? I think I'm going to start saying you can be celibate and while still having sex. You're just not procreating, which is the purpose ultimately of sex. I mean, yes, there's fun, you know, I have had fun. I obviously I've had plenty of sex, not procreating, not to brag. If you believe me, you should. I'm cool. But, you know, so in a way I'm an incel or a volcel, I guess, maybe. But if we start taking that approach, and I maybe it's you know, worthy. Maybe we should say somebody who is not actively, who hasn't or is not trying to, who is actively avoiding breeding. Maybe that should be what celibacy is about now. Because it obviously isn't about not wanking. All those guys are doing it. Well, celibacy is a hands-on job.
To make things worse, a grown-ass man saw another grown-ass man speaking about the normal human desire to want a family and want children one day, and called him an incel. Cockroach behavior.
In any
100%.
case, what is this? Capcom's Pragmata. Wait, did it come out already? Pragmata, it's making thousands of people suddenly want to start a family. You play as Hugh, a soldier, stranded on a ruined lunar research station. His job is...
I didn't think the day would come where Hassan gave me the same ick as Destiny, but I think it's happened now. He's just gotten that far. I've come that far, or he's gone that far. One of the two, I don't know. I watched, Hassan was one of the people I watched during the 2004 election, the lead up to it. You know, I thought he was, at the time, I thought he was kind of like, you know, on the level. I think it's the diva quality that he has, that you just start seeing when you look at him at a slightly different angle, or is kind of amassed. You know, he's so inauthentic. At least Destiny is a fucking freak. You know, like in all authenticity. I still don't want to listen to him, but I would say yeah, on a spectrum of like I would listen to Hassan and somewhat tolerate him, and I would be completely stomach churned by Destiny to the point of not wanting to hear anything he had to say. I do think that they've kind of passed the event horizon of each other. And now it's like, well, I don't like Destiny. I hope I never do. At the very least, I can tolerate listening to him. But now Hassan is starting to become intolerable. Like, I just don't want to even engage with him. I'd rather find different leftists to listen to. I'm sure if you have any suggestions for, like, you know, leftists who are tolerable to listen to, the Chapo Trap House guys weren't all that bad. I'm sure I would have a harder time with them, but like Matt Christman specifically, I never liked Felix, and it's not because he's a Jew. Maybe it's because he's a Jew.
The childlike android Diana while fighting rogue AI. In one emotional moment, she gives him a crayon drawing of the two of them together as a little family. Even streamers who say at the start they didn't want kids end up breaking down happy in tears. So what's really interesting about this is all of these unfuckable losers in the gaming sphere always talk about like starting families and stuff. And I don't understand like why this has become a thing that they care about. Like, if you're a gamer, you should care about things that you actually experience. You should care about things that you actually enjoy, right? If you're a lonely gamer who has never been around a woman and will never have sex with a woman, why do you care? Like, why do you care about having children or like riding for having children? Like, it's just not something that you're gonna experience ever for your life, for the rest of your life, right? This is something that I never understand.
Wow, maybe
I was kind of waiting for him to say something to latch on to. That was just straw manning, and also like kind of sexist, like, because there's plenty of women gamers out there too. Like, what is a gamer? Like, we asked ourselves, what is an incel? My question is, what is a gamer? I watch a lot of the streamers that come across my stream are women who play games, and I can't imagine all of them are just doing that like because they want to get attention. Like, especially in this day and age, you don't have to play video games to stream. If these women are playing video games on stream, it's because they like playing video games, and that's what they want to do. That's the activity they want to share with other people. A big fan of was it Stormfell? Yeah, Stormfell. Anyways, sorry, that's a side tangent. I mean, there was just so much ignorance to what he said. There's so much like rage baiting. I think that's all he was going for. He just reached for like, what's the most shallow thing I could say to rage bait, so Asmund will react to what I said, so that way I can farm that tomorrow, when Asmund has his clip reacting to me, I can react to it, and then maybe we could keep that going for a few more days if he kicks it back into my court. That's my theory, is like what he was going for, but he didn't do a great job. You know, you can't have Hall. He's a streamer. He's like swinging out like, you know, every pitch that comes his way. Essentially, that's like what you sign up for with being a streamer versus like this YouTube thing that I'm doing right now. I can pick and choose my battles for the most part, and like, you know, sometimes I start up a video and I don't even know what it's about, and then all of a sudden I'm like, you know, in the midst of something I have no clue about. But yeah, he has to swing at everything. I would say that was like a tip-off foul, you know, to end the at bat. No, you don't tip off fouls to end at bats, but essentially, yeah, that was just like one that, you know, he swung at the pitch, it went into the stands, and really no impact, except for he got Shue to react to him. Oh, I wonder, does he react to Shue? We're going to find out.
There's a reason people are yearning to start a family and can't afford to have one and can't seem to find a partner. They feel alienated from their work and atomized from their community. If only there was a political commentator around to speak about all this. Oh well, guess not. First of all, the only care about something if it affects you is extremely libertarian coded, and also very weird coming from a guy who understandably wants everybody to care about a genocide that is happening across the ocean. Second of all, what is this nihilistic horseshit? You never aspire for anything, never aim for greatness and meaning. This is the dude the media wants us to believe is going to save young men from the alt-right pipeline. Yeah, okay. And I love how he's like, unfuckable losers. Like,
I'm just going to say, I think Hassan is probably driving him into the alt-right pipeline. Like, I do think that on a long enough time scale, if you keep listening to him, you're going to fall into one of two camps. You're either going to, and you're probably going to, well, there's the camp that probably stops listening to him. You know, that's just how a YouTube feed works. I think it's like you have cycles of seeing the same people over and over again. Every now and then somebody sticks to you. Like Shue has stuck with me, where I watch every video all the time. There's some people that I'll go through spells of watching every video they put out and then stop. And so you're going to be either you're going to fall off, or you're going to stick around long enough to see the chinks in his armor and see the flaws in his logic and start like looking for other people to glob onto, or you can't rub two brain cells together and you're just going to follow him all the way down to the bottom of the pipeline. Because can we talk about the communist pipeline, the leftist pipeline, whatever you want to say? It exists, and it's captured many people, and there's a lot of different movements that are all part of it too. The anti-natalist movement is definitely a leftist movement, in my humble opinion. I don't even think that's an opinion. I think it's fucking fact, and I think it's one of the most dangerous things that we have going for us right now in terms of our health and psychology. Between that and the pro system, no matter what, which is so ironic, because like, you know, the leftists supposedly hate our systems, but at the same time they will defend like teachers unions, these things that have proven to be bad. I think, you know, like things that should be revolutionized, those are the things they defend, and the things that they want to revolutionize are like the things that have been working for the past 250 years in this country. You know, it's just the priorities. I don't know.
okay, congrats on the sex, bro. Check out this sex haver over here. I'm sure all those unfuckable losers could easily go to foreign brothels and pay for sex like you, Hassan. Something weird about a man who could easily consensually get sex from a woman but chooses to go to a brothel. I don't know. Just saying. Also, 35? No kids?
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, that just...
I think he kind of like left it. I mean, I don't try to keep up with too much of the drama. That was a lie. But I don't know all the ins and outs of Hassan Valkyrie. But it does seem like he squandered a few of her remaining years, if everything's to be believed, because he did not fill her up. And I think he jaded her more on having a kid, from what I understand.
Pisses me off, like sitting in his ugly ass $600 Gucci sweater. I swear I've never seen this guy in a fucking normal ass t-shirt, sitting on his high horse, looking down at people
Good fellow.
For wanting something more out of life. I don't understand how someone could be so mentally mind raped that this is their reaction to such like a simple, wholesome concept. Like literally, no joke, the entire meaning of life is somehow confusing to Hassan Piker, anti-natalist. If I saw a child that looked like that, I'd probably attack it. I felt like hitting her. The right-wing nutjobs seeing this and feeling paternal instincts are just predators. The only instinct I feel as a man right now is self-defense. I want to kill it. Yes, the ones saying they want to protect a kid are the predators, not the ones saying they want to kill it. The only thing I felt while watching this is pure...
I mean, let's face it, folks watching at home. They're pretty good at killing babies, aren't they? They're pretty good at killing kids. It's kind of sad. Very sad, actually.
Bloodlust for that annoying creature. I hate children so much. Before you come at me, yes, I'm a 35-year-old crazy cat lady and proud of it. Stay mad. First of all, every time you see a little smiley face like that, that's how you know that person is madder than they've ever been in their entire life. Listen, obviously, if you simply don't want kids, that's fine. Like, whatever. Not everyone wants kids. Not everyone wants to be a parent. But the societal attitude, the difference between men and women here, how they handle this situation is so, like, fascinating to me.
I'm probably never having kids. I'm probably gonna play video games for the rest of my life. I'm probably gonna be as hot for as long as I can. And I'm probably gonna keep making money. That's probably what's gonna happen for the next 40 years until people are just gonna keep being mad at me about it. Menopause is gonna hit me like a brick wall, but at least I will be getting the bag until then. You don't want kids? I'll do it whenever I want. I don't think I'm running out of time.
Absolute delusion. I feel like a lot of men in this...
Yeah, I mean, it's the kid thing, you know, there's science has come a long way, but it can't stop you from getting older. We're all getting older, and you're a lady, unfortunately. You are blessed, Valkyrie, for looking as wonderful as you do this late into your life. You have got really good genes. I think you're going to age like wine, but still, like, that means like your husband is still going to see, well, if you had a husband, your husband, your family are still going to see you as being a beautiful person. And, you know, like guys, you know, will look at you and be like, not too bad. But you're going to lose in the long run to the youth that are coming up behind you. And that's just the way life is. And you should be focusing on different things. And you shouldn't think that you're just going to be riding the hot wave for the rest of your foreseeable life. I don't know, man. It's absolute delusion. And it's so funny. It's like I think Shue and Valkyrie, they must be close in age. They must be pretty dang close. And I think I don't know. I'll let you comment on that. I'm sure she has some thoughts that she's about to share.
Situation are like, damn, I wish I had a family. That sucks. Women overcompensate and they pretend to be proud of it, and it just comes off as really kind of sad. And I guess it's like, as a woman for a long time, it's like, oh, you're too young to have kids. Don't have kids. It will ruin your life and your body and your career. Don't have children. And then all of a sudden you hit a certain age and it's like, you're eggs, ma'am. I get it. It's frustrating. I get it. I hid my pregnancy from the internet. Nobody knew I was pregnant. Well, some of you guessed, because I was fat as fuck. But anyway, I hid it from the internet. And while I was like 5 months pregnant, I was getting tweets from like groypers and like, TikTok, your eggs are drying up. But this like, you haters, I got my cats. Enough. Stop spreading that attitude. Stop being a crab in a bucket. Like, even if you don't have children, that's fine. You could find other meaning in your life, obviously. But don't encourage that type of mindset. The amount of anti-natalist propaganda young men and young women see nowadays is like insane. But the biggest anti-natalist propaganda has to be like $3,000 rent, $2,000 daycare, and student debt, honestly. Like, oh yeah, if we're being honest. It's just sad because like through all of history, like imagine your ancestors, they've been through like war and famine, and you're just gonna end your bloodline because the rent is too high. But it's understandable. They don't feel like they can support a child. They can barely support themselves, especially on one income, like how it used to be. Those days are gone. You know, if I was president and I wanted to make America great again, that would be the thing I focus on the most. But no, we have to do another bullshit war in the Middle East. Okay, whatever, we're not going into that, not in this video. Lots of strange reactions to this game. Video. Let's clear some things up. Childless men do not have paternal instincts the way childless women have maternal instincts. Men first experience paternal instincts once they have their own children, and typically, those paternal instincts are only ever felt for their own children and no one else's. Men are not nurturers. Men don't gush over cute kids in public. Men don't...
Maybe it's like just one of those not all men kind of things, and I have gushed over cute kids in public, and I've been reprimanded by the girlfriend I had at the time because she didn't want to have kids, and she felt attacked because I would just thought, hey, that's a cute kid, and made comments about it. It's like, yes, some of us do. Some of us have paternal instincts. When I see a kid, like I saw a kid in the gym the other day who looked like he was aimless and just playing with the machines. I went up and I was like, hey, buddy, this is what I probably didn't do a good job. I probably mostly freaked him out or made him uncomfortable, but still, I just was like, hey, if you want to get into this working out thing, if you're coming to the gym, man, you need cardio's good, but muscle work's better. Focus on muscles. And look up this video online. That'll teach you the weightlifting to do. I had an urge to do that. You don't think that's some level of paternal that I want to pass along what little knowledge I have to a kid, to the next generation? Please give it to me. Just don't lump us all together. I mean, I know there's statistics, and I often cite statistics, but please, like, give us this that we can. I do believe that especially in a crisis situation, a man will go and try to help a kid. Maybe probably the difference is the man is going to probably try to help the kid. Come on now. Why are you doing that? Okay. The man is probably going to try to help the kid find a solution or find the next person, because they're not going, they're going to know that the kid isn't for them, in like almost 100% of the situations. The thing is, I do worry, I would be a little more worried if my kid was lost. I'll say this. For different reasons, I would be worried about a man finding my child and a woman finding my child. Obviously, the scary part about the man finding a child is unfathomably scary. And if you hit that unlucky Powerball, if you will, of you lost your child and the wrong man found them, my heart goes out to all the people who have experienced that over the course of history. That said, there's also a world where if the wrong woman finds your child, where you have a different kind of horror, where your child may still exist out there and you'll never see them again, and that child will be taken in and raised by another, essentially. Just saying, like, that's my fear of the wrong woman finding my child. And there's plenty of good people, like, most of the time, if you lose your kid and some adult finds them, nearly 100%, like we're talking like, 99.35, something like that. They're going to be found, maybe not by the most competent person, but somebody who has at the very least the right intention of helping them find their parent, men and women. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on that and keeping that true in our society versus, boiling over this idea that your child goes missing and they're going to instantly be molested or something like that. It's not good for our psyche. And why you're playing into it. You're trying to make us so afraid of the world that we don't want to bring a child into it. You anti-natalist. We need to come up with a slur for you people. I don't think anti-natalist is good enough. We're going to find a slur. Trust me. Slurs are back.
Don't have baby fever. If a man wants to possess a child for any reason other than it being a product of his own lineage, he's likely a predator.
What? Okay. First of all, even from like anecdotal common sense, this is just not true. This is obviously bullshit.
Research literally shows that childless men experience like the desire for fatherhood almost just as much as childless women experience the desire for motherhood.
Apparently young men want children more than young women do nowadays. Many men, including childless men, exhibit caregiving, protective responses to infants, even if they're not their own. All through history, men have protected, mentored, even died for kids that weren't their own. Also, with this logic, like uncles, stepdads, adoptive fathers, like anyone like that is a predator. Like men just have the protector gene, and this game just activates it. It's really not deeper than that. Yes, it's true men don't have maternal instincts. But
as Shue said many videos ago, let men do men things.
Men do have paternal instincts. There's a reason this game is about protecting her from evil robots in space and not like, I don't know, breastfeeding her. Yes, women and men are different. And I like a huge factor in this very popular trope is that the man gradually develops paternal instincts over the child despite his stoic, emotionally distant, masculine nature. These gamers are experiencing that through the main character. If Capcom's goal with Pragmata was to make everyone who plays this game want to be a parent, then they've done an amazing job. I always sit back when Diana starts playing and think to myself, so this is what it's like to have a daughter? She's so cute. And for the record, yes.
Okay, I was so worried that it was going to turn into another hate mob, you know, striking that one tweet down hard. Okay.
That is what having kids is like. It's also not so fun stuff and lots of responsibility, but the good parts completely outweigh the bad and make it all worth it.
I'm going to hold you to that, June. If I go and get a girl, you know, full of belly, if I fill a lady's belly with a baby, it better outweigh it, June, because, you know, heaven forbid I waste the rest of my life on alcohol and, you know, or heaven forbid I don't waste the rest of my life drinking and being sad and actually, you know, having responsibilities that make me get up every day and live life to the fullest. Heaven forbid that happens to me.
There were hundreds of tweets from people, mostly childless people, mind you, being like, that's not what having a child is like, actually, you stupid gamer. It's actually terrible and awful. Men like this view having a daughter like having a pet dog. Once she grows up and isn't a cute little girl anymore, they'll begin to resent her. Men really do want kids the way kids want a puppy. All the fun, but none of the responsibility.
Look, I'm sure there's, you know, heaven forbid you get a dud. Black sheep, whatever, you know, it can happen to anybody. That's the sort of thing is almost like a genetic, you know, like roll the dice, or you maybe really screw up as a parent and turn them into a monster. I've seen it happen. It's happened in my family. Maybe I'm the monster of my family. I don't know. But there might be a regretful 7, maybe not even 7, maybe like 5, you know, 3 years somewhere in there. In the teenage years, I think that's probably, I'm going to assume that's the most trying time of any family. You know, the like once that puberty hits through late high school, I'm assuming that's like the tough part. Assuming your kid isn't like flamboyantly and obnoxiously gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I remember this one time I was a server at the movie theater I worked at. I was a table server because there was like practically a full restaurant too. And I was with a family of 3, and their young son was flamboyantly gay, and they were trying to order the vegetarian or vegan, I even think, and you know, of course, you know, classic situation. They order one meal, like veggies and hummus, and I bring that out to them, and then they ask about something else, and at that point I find out that the kid is vegan, I believe, and I go back and ask a question about the, you know, it's like, is this have butter, is this made with milk? Turns out it wasn't vegan. I come back out and I see the kid eating the pita. I probably should have just kept my mouth shut, because he really didn't probably care in his heart of hearts. But I, you know, came up and was like, hey, you know, sorry, but you should know that there's butter in this and that pita. And the kid freaked out, like almost broke down, left the table, like was crying. So dramatic. And I just like kind of looked at the dad, and all I could think is, I don't think he's upset that his kid's gay. I think he's upset that his kid's an F word and being a real F word around here. I mean, I think there's just a difference. I don't think many guys really care that other dudes are, you know, doing butt stuff with each other. I think they care when they're just being a little bitch, honestly. And that kid was being a little bitch, ruining a perfectly good afternoon with his made up, faux morality or outrage over like having consumed, I guess the dairy of a cow. Just roll with the punches. And if you're going to be a militant vegan and be that upset about it, well, do some education. You should have known that most bread coming out of a kitchen is going to be made with butter in it. Anyways, that would make me feel like I wasted like 14, 15 years of my life and had still more to waste on raising. I'm sure the mom had something to do with it.
I don't like the way you guys talk about children. Like, they aren't toys. People will lose their f***ing minds when they realize that kids aren't like a dog or cat. They're a goddamn nightmare. Watching a child play with a toy and actually raising a child are two completely separate things. Kids are adorable when they're calm and playful, but little demons when they're screaming, snotting, and destroying your shit and keeping you up at night. Men really think having children is easy and fun. It's not so fun when they're pissing and shit and crying nonstop. Do you have kids? No, and I got my tube side 3 years ago, but thanks for asking. Wow, Diana's so cute. Maybe I want kids one day. Did you know they poop and pee and cry? Why this compulsive need to counter-signal this? Watching a fictional kid play with toys for a few seconds and thinking that's what it's like raising an actual human being is probably a sign you have zero idea what it really looks like being a parent, and you should not base your decision off a video game character. Wait, this community note. OP is an e-girl with an OnlyFans. You stupid gamers don't get it. Doom scrolling TikTok and having multiple failed situationships is true happiness. Children are a burden. Nobody is saying parenting is easy. Nobody said that. All the parts parents say are the best parts. All the parts parents say are worth it. That is what people are seeing and yearning for. They have this like insane compulsion to attack anything that's like remotely pro-family, I guess because it culturally clocks as conservative. So you have to just shun it and mock it, or else you're doing a fascist propaganda or something. This whole thing has just been a litmus test for humanity. On one side, people who long for love and meaning and human connection desire deeper things.
And what does the other side supposedly always say? It's like, choose love. Love is love. All those like talking points. I guess they don't apply when it actually has something to do with familial bonds, at least for some of them. Of course, there should be the stipulation that always goes out. This is not every left-leaning person. This is not every leftist, period. There's plenty of people who have strong leftist ideals that actually do want to raise families. This is a mental health disorder that's going on in America, and there's examples of people who propose to be on either side of the political divide who have this. This is an undercurrent for all of American politics and policies and everything like that. This is a other thing that runs through all of it, and we're all and you know what? This is the reason that it's getting away with, being gotten away with, if you will, is that because we are so hyper-fixated on what signifies you as being a good person is which side of the aisle you sit on, and the other side of the aisle is the bad people. And this is why I really stress for fence sitting. I know I'm leaning probably more conservative, and that's where the fun part of talking about the culture war is right now, and that's like where I think the most impactful statements can be made. But what I really think is that because we have deluded ourselves into thinking that goodness equals being on my side of the political divide, we now are being blind to what is truly the difference between good and bad people, and that is like their actual moral fiber and their mental health, honestly. And we're aligning ourselves because there are people like the people with the mental health issues are essentially hiding amongst the ranks of their chosen political sides. They're the ones who should be purged out, if you will, of society, or at the very least should be sought out and put into something to help them, some sort of correctional thing, something to keep them away from others, and to for us to be able to focus in and help fix them but also mostly to get their voices away from others, because these are social contagions we're talking about. This isn't just genetics. This is like things that you can warp your mind and perspective, and you can actually spread this. It's literally mind viruses. I should know I had something like this for a while. I think it wreaked havoc through my 20s, making me essentially check out of society. I was antisocial for sure. I mean, I had a job and I was like, but I didn't have a community, and I didn't have aspirations, or my aspirations I did not attempt to meet because I felt all these different pressures and all these different downward spiral thoughts. And I don't want that to happen to anybody else. I mean, it's going to, but I want other people to heed my words. Especially if you're a young person, heed my words. There are ideas that will hold you down like a sinkhole. It'll suck you down, and it's going to drown you eventually. It's going to cause you to develop habits that are going to make you fade. Like you know how a photograph, well, maybe you don't, because photographs don't work like this anymore, but back when photographs were actually, film, on developed pieces of paper, if you left a photograph sitting out in just direct sunlight, it would fade faster. Every photograph, of course, would fade, but it would go faster. That's like what it's like to live with these beliefs. You lose yourself. Like the details of who you are, what make you special, just fade away. You become a ghost, a walking ghost. You don't want this to happen to you. So please, for the love of God, don't fall into that. I'm hyper paranoid that I didn't press record. I mean, there's more to the video. I'm going to have more to say, but that's pretty much the thesis. That's the thesis of this channel, at least at this juncture. I want this channel to be more, but if there's one thing that I definitely want this channel to be is about being true to yourself and knowing that at the very least you deserve to put in your best effort. And you don't need to be small. You don't need to make yourself as small and as out of the way as possible to make space for other people. That whole make space thing is something that they told us to put us down, to make us small, to make us clam up in our shells. And the weak ones amongst us who didn't have that proper, confidence in ourselves, due probably to family things, fell into line. And we lost ourselves. And some of us are holding on to what little we have left. We're holding on to the grass. We're trying to still experience this world. But it really, and I mean this in the most scientific way, it really retarded us in our lives. And we're set back. And that's if we woke up. There's plenty of others who are still going with this and holding on to that aspect, that idea of what living should be, and they're just still it's basically their life is slipping through their fingers, and they're losing themselves or whatever they were, whatever their inner child was. It's fading into the ether.
And they're in touch with their humanity. And on the other side, miserable, insane freaks who want to destroy everything pure and wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the sidelines, normal people who just think this is a fun game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably most people.
Mm-hmm. That's not the side.
I think we're a little too online sometimes.
Yes.
So we have established that the broveries have been activated by this game. But is the male biological clock real? Unlike women who are born with a specific number of eggs, men create sperm all their life. Right now, as we speak, your balls are creating sperm.
Ooh.
Men can technically get...
I got a little tingle there when she said that. It's like, oh yeah, they are. I feel it rushing through me.
Someone pregnant all their life. And by someone, I mean a woman, not a femboy. You can't get a femboy pregnant.
I'm going to be okay. Shit. Okay. All right. I'm okay. Jesus Christ, Shu. You don't have to be so honest and truth-telling. Shoo. God damn it. Hi, folks. Editing Joel here. While I am okay, that little stunt, that little gag, I actually fucked up the recording. So we're just going to call it there, and I'm going to skip right to the ending. I do apologize. I didn't really say too much else, I believe. But hopefully I've learned a valuable lesson if I'm going to shut my laptop in impotent rage. Anyways, let's go ahead and finish up this video. Thank you. Yeah, why was it? Why was it? Well, thank you so much, folks. And, you know, maybe one of these days I'll watch an Indie Austin video with y'all. But today is not going to be that day. But thank you so much for joining me on this journey through ShoeOnHead's video about pragmata and children being attractive or men wanting to have kids being bad. What did we learn here today, folks? Nothing. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'd greatly appreciate it. Going to be hitting the hammer again on this channel. And what was it? Oh, yeah, my game. Down below in the comments. I should have ran an ad for it at some point. I should have probably also told you to like and subscribe the video earlier, but whatever. Vocal fry. Even guys can do vocal fry. Where am I going with this? Essentially, thank you so much for watching and enjoy yourself.